Drago has been one of the most powerful characters in terms of the anime continuity, and I feel like he is not talked about as much as he should. So, while I am doing certain things with Bakugan, like what if Ingram was in Naruto and stuff, and, well, kind of revisiting some old Bakugan stuff myself here, and even looking at it, I'm even starting a Bakugan content section here on the channel now. So, with that being said here, I've actually done a video over 2 years ago, and believe it or not, had some information that I actually got a little bit wrong and I actually downplayed it. So, with that being said here, today we are going to correct just how powerful Drago really is. So, with that being said here, let's start off with the cosmology. It's actually very simple. Bakugan is an infinite multiverse, endless amounts of universe, as you guys can see here before you, as described by Dragonoid Colossus. However, these were created by Drago's ancestor, Genesis Dragonoid and Genesis Daraknoid, who actually created everything in the verse. Keep in mind, this includes the concepts as well. So basically, he's got a like this Arceus type of lore where he created everything, including the likes of Vestroya, which is multiple conceptual elements put together. So keep in mind, Drago is a direct descendant, okay, of this exact creator. He's literally his blood descendant, okay? That's his daddy. The creator himself. The literal all father, okay? The one above all of the Bakugan cosmology is Drago's ancestor, okay? So, right then and there, Drago from the very beginning, from the very first season, had this kind of potential. This was his max he would actually gain throughout every series, every continuity, every Bakugan from the original series. Drago was actually building up to being on that level and eventually got there. So let's actually detail this journey, right? Drago in the very beginning's first goal was to surpass the perfect core, a combination of the Infinity Core and Silent Core, both polar opposites, but both containing both positive and negative energies, but both having infinite levels of power, okay? Drago and Hydronoid basically competed for who could wield the Infinity Core. And keep in mind, Hydronoid could wield this as well. So just kind of putting it out there right now. And Drago as well would have been able to wield it. So Naga and Drago would obviously have these higher power levels, which would then get surpassed and even matched by the average Bakugan in the next season, which was New Vestroya. So keep in mind, the same Naga who was able to merge both our universes along with 6 other universes, the attributical universes, was capable of easily destroying this. So the average Bakugan in the next season, plus the 6 original ones, were capable of destroying an entire multiverse quite casually. And keep in mind, they blow up their own pocket dimensions on a daily on a conceptual level because they're destroying everything in it, as the Bakugan realm that they transfer over to originally is simply a zone outside of time and space, and even freezes time and space itself when transferring them into that dimension. Meaning, while people think they're actually going on with their lives, they're actually stuck in a limbo. So, yeah, thanks a lot. So this means you can go about your average day, and then all of a sudden, someone hits the pause button on you, freezing you in time and space. Yeah, I know, it's absolutely crazy. Just like this Imperial Swords gameplay. I'm telling y'all, this dude is peak right here. But again, back to the subject at hand. Drago himself was always meant to surpass this as well. However, we got to talk about the time he matched it, that being during the New Vestroya one, where he became the Spinning Dragonoid, or his next stage. I think it was Helix, or, well, Pyrus Helix Dragonoid at that moment, or Spinning Dragonoid as the fans call him. So at this point, he had matched the Infinity Core, or the Perfect Core, excuse me, and was able to fight Bakugan who were also on par with him, okay, like Hades and Helios, both MK1 and MK2, and even Viper Helios. And keep in mind, he bended the Perfect Core to his will. And even under Spectra's control, he was able to ban all 6 attributes. But again, he did it forcefully instead of willingly. You get what I mean? Now, he would actually surpass this when he becomes Cross Dragonoid. Now, you might say, Legendary, why is Cross Dragonoid so important? Now, here's the thing, right? This is where Drago full-on surpasses the likes of the Ancient Six. Now, actually looking into this here, the Ancient Six were not holding back against the original 6 Bakugan, with even Exedra, who's confirmed to be the strongest of them, at least in terms of individuals and not all their power put together. He was still able to lose to the likes of Dual Hydronoid. And again, this does mean Hydronoid is a lot stronger than people give him credit for, because again, he was already a stage 2 Bakugan going into that battle, meaning that he likely had the power already to contend against probably any of the Ancient Six members, all right? While Apollinaire held back on Drago. And this is because Apollinaire thought he was not ready to actually get to that stage. So his test continued until he got the Infinity Core. Keep in mind, the Ancient Six actually exists in this void right here, which is completely beyond not only the Perfect Core itself, but Vestroya itself. They look down on it in a separate time space outside of infinite power itself. I want y'all to think about that. They literally sit in a realm that is beyond the likes of infinite power. And keep in mind as well, the Ancient Six are also capable of manipulating the Doom Dimension, an infinite void-like realm that literally contains the concept of death for Bakugan. They enter there, they get petrified. They're slowly drained, weakened, until they are turned to stone. Keep in mind, the Ancient Six simply nullified this around the Brawlers just so that they wouldn't get that, get that fate. Same with their Bakugan as well. Meaning that, again, Drago and the rest of the original cast of Bakugan from the first season transcended the concept of death. Okay? Because, again, they had to surpass the Ancient Six in order to actually be able to get out of the Doom Dimension. So they would have to be beyond the concept of death in order to do so, or even being able to fight against the likes of the Ancient Six. And keep in mind, the second cast gained the power of the Ancient Six and thus became much stronger than the members of the original cast. And keep in mind as well, the likes of the Perfect Core the Infinity Core and Silent Core, which become the Perfect Core, are again all as individuals infinite, meaning combining them, you basically have a perfect fundamental or a perfect concept of infinity. Drago being able to not only overload the likes of Naga, someone who had infinite power, basically gave him infinity on top of infinity, and then also absorbed the Silent Core into him, thus creating the Perfect Core within Drago's body. Okay? This means that Drago's body is able to handle a perfect concept of infinity. You guys get what I mean? I know I said infinity a lot of times here. But again, keep in mind, Drago is literally handling the perfect concept of infinity. And keep in mind, this gave Drago a whole lot of abilities. Like, dude was basically Bakugan Jesus at this point. He could heal anything, regenerate anything, okay? There was nothing really stopping him at that point. This dude was the strongest Bakugan by the end of the series. And I'm talking about the first season, mind you. However, when we get to New Vestroya and he becomes Cross Dragonoid after a while, he would then surpass this level. Here's the reason why. So, one of the few battles that they have in the series is Maximus Dragonoid or Maxis Dragonoid versus Maxis Helios. Maxis Helios actually gained the power of Mechanical Bakugan, which channeled all 6 elements, and by his own word, was most powerful than the Perfect Core itself. Drago did not disagree with this at all, and keep in mind, he still had the Perfect Core within him. And then he became Maxis Dragonoid in order to match this power. However, when he became Cross Dragonoid, one of the few moves he used was Burning Infinity. Keep in mind, this was when he was still trying to match Helios with the Max's Dragonoid. But after seeing it was really no point in doing this anymore, he used Burning Infinity to not only overpower Helios, but to straight up one-shot him. Meaning he had a 10 times difference between him and Max's Helios just as his base Cross Dragonoid form. So keep in mind, right, just a quick recap real quick. Cross Dragonoid is greater than the Ancient Six, who are greater than the perfect power of the basically the perfect infinite core. Okay, you guys get what I mean? And then in season 2, right, the Bakugan on that level surpass Naga, and Drago is still able to one-shot them. Meaning he's able to one-shot beings who would be able to handle the likes of infinite power. And keep in mind, Drago was able to control the perfect form of infinite power as well, with him literally being able to basically match the power of the perfect core and then go on to surpass it. So keep in mind right now, at a low end, you can get Drago to complex multiversal. All right? Like, if you wanted a safe end, that's where I would get him. However, you can get the first season of Drago the first 2 seasons of Drago up to his Cross Dragonoid form, Cross Dragonoid form. You could get him to Outer Versal quite casually. However, let's get into that, right? He surpasses more levels at this point. He becomes Helix. He becomes... I know this was second stage, but let's just go all the way to Blitz, all right? He becomes Blitz Dragonoid, all right? And when he becomes Helix, then he becomes a different form across with the 4 wings, and then he becomes Blitz Dragonoid. So when he becomes Blitz Dragonoid, he is actually directly competing with Darak. Keep in mind, Darak at that point was more powerful than Drago, was more powerful than any other villain past villains, okay? Stronger than the likes of Naga, Hydronoid, Helios, and Farbros. He surpasses the infinite core by leaps and bounds. I would probably say he's 100 times stronger than that. And this is because he was going to manipulate Code Eve, which, by the way, would have responded to him quite casually, because as I said in the beginning of this video, he is a descendant of the original Daraknoid, as Drago is also the descendant of Genesis Dragonoid. Now, keep in mind, one of the few more impressive feats in the show is Dragonoid Colossus. Being able to defeat Dragonoid Colossus is no joke, because Dragonoid Colossus can actually exist outside of the multiverse itself, meaning he can exist beyond the likes of space and time quite casually, meaning he can actually transcend this. Darak and Drago, and Blitz Dragonoid, mind you, were confirmed to be able to beat him. Either one could have beaten Dragonoid Colossus. However, when he became Phantom Darak, or when Darak became Phantom Darak, he was able to quite casually incinerate and one-shot the likes of Dragonoid Colossus. So, yeah. It gets crazy, because he surpasses the likes of Code Eve at this point here, and even gains some control over it. And then he just gets stronger and stronger at this point. Like, there's no way for me to say. He starts surpassing beings that could literally tear open space and times. However, when he gets to his fusion form, the dude becomes a monster. You see, with the power of Code Eve, he gains that creation tier. Okay? He gains those creative abilities. He's way more powerful than what he was before. There's no like increase or decrease in power, or there's no like type of multiplier I could actually give at this point here, because when he becomes Fusion Dragonoid, after getting his final evolution as Titanium Dragonoid and stuff like that, this dude was so powerful. He was actually able to create a reverse world that was the complete opposite of the original. Being able to create this world and destroy it, mind you, because he blows this up in order to get out of it, meaning he was able to create his own form of space and time. Then you also have the fact that he can erase people from existence. I know this actually goes with Magmel and Razenoid, but keep in mind, Dan and Drago were confirmed to have the same powers and abilities as both of them here. With even the likes of Magmel being able to, well, being confirmed to be able to destroy every single universe in the Bakugan verse. Meaning he's able to destroy every universe in it. He's able to destroy the entire multiverse. Because again, keep in mind, once again, Darak and Drago are the direct descendants of the creators. Okay? So, they would be able to destroy everything. Just make it a clean slate and start over. Meaning, they would be able to wipe out every concept imaginable just to restart and make it again. So, what we actually have here is the fact that Drago and Darak, mind you, are surpassing these levels by leaps and bounds here. It's absolutely hilarious to think about it, right? And I think the irony of it is here is when you get to Drago's other hacks and abilities. And keep in mind, I mentioned nullification. And we already know he has energy projection. He has conceptual manipulation at this point. And keep in mind, his Mectagon, Xanthon, literally bypasses space and time quite casually. So you have a being that can literally fight beings that can exist outside of space and time, destroy space and time of an infinite multiverse, surpassing multiple levels of infinite power, and even surpassing beings and one-shotting said beings that surpass infinite power and beyond the concepts of space and time. Oh boy, Bakugan is a very criminally underrated, and I mean this in every fiber of my being, underrated series. Again, go ahead and check out the Bakugan playlist. You see me do a whole lot of stuff. I got Hydronoid videos. I got a few Dragonoid matches. And again, I'm just going to put the powers and abilities of Drago up here. And keep in mind, this is everything I managed to get from just watching the series alone. This dude was absolutely broken. So he's there's no way. I'm telling you, there is absolutely no way you can just tell me this guy is not broken. Like, I put him against Unicron Trilogy Optimus for a reason. You know, I put the Unicron Trilogy against Bakugan for a reason, because I think they can actually beat IDW because of the amount of versatility and raw power that they have, though. But this is all I really got to say about it. Oh, so be sure to comment down below, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And yeah, I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.